It's the breach.
What, the vortex?
The vortex
Yeah.
between the
vortex.
the inner and outer space.
I'm gonna put this down
Welcome
'cause it's gonna
to Back Issues, and here we are. We just watched Supergirl.
Yeah,
Yep.
we did.
All
from
of it.
1984, all 2 hours and 9 minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 2 hours
Felt
and
like
5 minutes.
9 minutes.
It felt like 9 hours.
That extra 4 minutes.
I
Really
remember
took
it
out of
well.
us.
Except
Yeah.
for those times I had to go and refresh my drink and go to the
You
washroom.
go to the washroom. It's good when you can time a movie by that.
Yeah.
How many washroom breaks you've taken, or how many cups you didn't pee in the Star Wars prequels. Whatever it works.
Wait, what?
Wow.
I feel like there's a story behind that.
Yeah.
Whole
I
new
think,
level of not wanting to miss something.
Alright, so once we get to our sci-fi series, we'll be able to investigate Tim's bowel movements a little bit easier.
No,
bowels of the Star Wars series.
Yeah, it's just turned
Oh,
dark.
gosh.
Well, we've got our two
Number
DC fans at the left-hand side of the table, Isaiah and Tim.
It's like,
so they're going to
yeah.
kind of take the
Versus?
lead on this guy.
Wow,
Um,
go for it.
well,
You
You're
guys
the
have also
Superman. This
you guys
is all
have
your
seen
stuff.
this movie before as well.
To
So
be
this is
fair-
our first run through, and this is
To be
This
fair.
is my third
Third
run
time?
through,
Okay.
maybe fourth. I think I might have seen it parts at various times, but like in terms of like I've seen it twice through fully, and then this would be the third full time through with the, like
Okay.
maybe another.
Isaiah.
To be fair, I watched this probably 22 years ago when I was 6 years old. And I kind of remember the finale, like that fight at the end, but like that's
Yeah.
it. Like I just remember like pictures.
Wait, you don't remember the tractor scene?
No.
Or
No.
the
22
cellophane
million.
flying out of the what was
Yeah?
it? It wasn't even Candor, was it?
Yeah,
It was
Argo City.
Argo
Argo
City.
City.
The
Yes.
plastic
The
wrap
cellophane.
sheeting
The
force
the
fields.
cellophane window. Yeah.
That was the only thing I remembered.
I remember
really
some
going
of
into
that.
This.
I
I was
remember
like, that
some
was
of
the
that.
worst. To me, that was an offense. The window. It was like, you got to be kidding me.
You didn't really like the window? I
No.
thought the window was great.
It was
Maybe as a
literally-
metaphor.
No,
For
we're
like
not, we're not going
what
back
they
into the
needed to
AW
do.
onion ring thing.
No, but it
again.
was like literally that
Oh, yeah.
like plastic wrap you put in front of your windows to like weather coat it for the winter.
Yeah.
Mm.
That might just be
With a
Canadian thing.
hairdryer behind it.
Yeah. My parents do that like every year. A hairdryer every year.
Just
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I remember though. Is like just images barely and like the bit of the finale.
And the box on the shelf in the store. How they
Oh, yeah.
Superman
100%,
and
yeah.
Supergirl had oversized VHS boxes. So they took up extra shelving
No,
just to have them there. And they were always out. Someone always had them rented. Because
Interesting.
I don't know
Interesting.
why.
Bad movies, but they were
Such
always
is
rented.
Tim's life.
Yeah. So this was made in.
now I can watch it whenever I want. Every time.
So this was made in 1984. The budget was 35 million
which
for it.
adjusted for inflation is like 83 point something million now.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
pretty crazy.
Versus Deadpool, which cost how much?
58.
$58 million.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
way different. That's
It's got more of that like kind of off the beaten path kind of feel to it than.
they're both grounded.
Both
Kind of
more like focused on
superhero boot on the
localized
ground mentality.
No.
Not this one. This was cables in the forest.
Because I only just now remembered that there was like a whole high school collegey thing. Like this movie was so long.
Yeah, there was no plot. It was like they went by the signposts, and then they
but
like
before we go down
Okay.
that path, like what worked in the movie? Let's
What worked?
not get too
The costume
sucked up
worked.
in the stuff.
Hey, you know what?
it
The costume
evoked
looks decent.
an iconic.
Costume looked decent.
It worked. It was better than this one.
And honestly, the flying effects were better than Superman 4.
Better than
Enjoyable,
Superman
right?
4.
Yeah.
They were
Although
decent.
I could
They
have
were
done with
for-
a fight on the moon.
Okay, Fight on the Moon.
That would've been okay.
Mel, what
For
worked for
84.
you in this one? Okay.
No,
Hey,
no.
if nothing worked, you can please totally say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That is
No.
completely fine.
I was in awe with the tractor scene.
Okay, you were in awe
I'm
with
still
the tractor
thinking
scene.
about it. I think in 22 years I will remember the tractor scene.
Okay, interesting.
Wow.
Did it work though?
No.
Or are you just okay? So you're just in
No.
awe and you don't think it worked. Excellent. Good.
But it was amusing, and I think I'm better for having seen it.
Okay. Cool.
It was like superhero slapstick.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me personally, sorry to interrupt, but I just have to say that the concept, I think, was really cool. I think going up against a magic user was a really good idea for someone that's a Kryptonian. It would have been nice to see a little bit more of a transition as opposed to just kind of a cutscene and she's into the outfit. But you know what? If they want to play it that way, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm down for it.
That is like chief on my what didn't work list was the fact that she gets into the tulip bulb wearing just
Spaceship tulip bulb,
space
stuff,
clothes.
Yeah.
Comes out of it wearing full Supergirl regalia.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Then walks behind a tree and is able to transform into regular college gear with brown hair.
Superman pulled some stunts like that. Let's not forgive him completely.
Exactly.
Like,
that's why I'm saying
there was
it's
some
not
bad
a
Superman transitions.
Yeah, that's why I'm
in
saying
Chris
it's
Reeve's
not a deal
Supermans.
breaker for me personally. So I love the concept of this movie. I think it was really solid in that front. I think the execution could have done with some extra work, but I love like the thought that went into the story of this, and also it being a little bit more like character focused as opposed to, hey, we've suddenly got power and now we're going to go out for world domination. You know what I mean?
They had a
like
brand that they could push. They were like, Superman, huge hit.
Sorry, I
changed
thought you were
everything.
going to say A&W, but...
Yes, well, there was that too. There was A&W.
How did A&W sign off on this movie?
Because they're super.
No, I mean like the first time you see an A&W in the movie is when Matt Frewer is trying to legitimately rape Supergirl.
That was pretty bad.
It's like, who signed off on that?
Yeah.
A&W.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not. Yeah, that was not good.
Okay, so we're starting to delve into this anyway, but let's talk about it on a official sense. So for everybody here, what didn't work with Supergirl in 1984? Clearly, I don't need to ask who wants to go first on this one.
Yeah,
Isaiah.
you go for it.
She flew out of the tulip pod and had the Supergirl costume on.
When Kal-El emerges from the Fortress of Solitude, he is also just wearing the costume.
That made sense in that he was
Kind of.
given that costume over
By
the course
Jor-El
of
over the course of years of training.
She
and,
flew out of the
tulip bulb.
the lake
Yeah.
wearing a full Supergirl costume. I spent the entire movie trying to figure that out.
It's true, he did.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a long
Listen, if
time.
you listen to us,
It was
on
a
our
really
podcast,
long movie.
You'll understand.
It was the bat poles. When Adam West goes down the bat poles and they just get the costume. And you don't think of the traumatic experience of going down the bat pole and having robot arms grab you and change your clothes for you or whatever happens.
What if it's just Alfred down there?
Down there? You're doing it really quickly? All along, Alfred has been a Kryptonian.
It's just like has to like then run over to Robin's side and like
No wonder he looks so tired all the time. It suddenly makes sense. So was there anything else other than the costume change that really broke it for you?
I mean,
Most of it was
most
broken.
of it was terrible. And like another thing that for me at least was the entire crux of the story, like the good versus evil, was like them fighting over a man.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
I thought that was like super. I mean, it's 84, but like that was real sexist. That was like, oh, they fight over a man. You know, they're women. That's what they do. And then they brought in the world domination thing after that, but it was like that was like why she hated Supergirl.
It was
It's
like
kind of
domination of a
crux,
town.
right? Yeah.
They mentioned world domination early
Yeah.
on, but then
Yeah.
it just
Yeah,
got
they really
lost
did.
in
By the wayside.
whole,
When she saw the guy cutting down the tree.
yeah.
That's like a classic example of like, oh, we're making a girl movie. They should have girl problems. They fight over a dude, you know? Like,
Yes.
come on.
I'm going to dominate the world. Oh, a boy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wait, what was I doing?
That's
I suddenly have
What was
limitless
I doing?
power, but I'm going to be distracted by a fine male form that
Well,
happens to
I
do
mean-
gardening.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah,
like
stereotypical.
it's like a bulb. It's just like
Okay.
a kryptonite. It might as well be
Yeah.
a kryptonite.
So
stand-in.
Tim, what's the standouts for you, bud?
There's a lot of bad stuff in this.
There is.
Okay, firstly, I'll say the good stuff. I like the costume.
Cool.
I like the idea of keeping it grounded. I like the idea of the age they were aiming for. But like I think I mentioned several times, it should have been high school or something. The problems they faced seemed like that. Like
Cool.
the way they wanted this like level of innocence to the character. Even if she wasn't. Even if it was straight up just like Veronica Mars with powers. That would have worked for me. And they could have had, she has to uncover some grounded thing within her town. It's what's working for Riverdale, right? It's what's working.
So is it the fact that she had to travel from space to Earth that
To
didn't really
get
work
into
for
these
you?
problems?
Or
Was
like,
it space,
But she was
though?
alien to all these things. But it's like she was alien to, like, brushing her teeth, going to, driving a car. Like, she was like,
Right.
like coming to America, ridiculous bullshit that just wasn't working for me. I don't know. She needed to be a smarter character, stronger, have some insights, or seek out. There were so many other ways to write this. It could have been in isolation. It didn't even, for all intents and purposes, need to be on Earth. They could have made it all Planet of the Apes cheap and silly, Barbarella, and it would have worked.
She didn't have any agency in the story. Is
None.
what you're saying? She just kind of like things happened to her. And she's like, "Ooh, I guess I'm gonna do this."
We made the parallel how many times? You brought up Superman 3, and we agreed like 3 or 4 times as like a superior film. And it's like,
Barely,
it's
but yeah.
barely. But it's like, okay, it's like Luthor Light is the villain, and they build like the most ridiculous Brainiac knockoff. And it's like, but like ever, it's like his sister-in-law or something becomes like Brainiac, painted blue with like microchips stuck to her face, and like it's ridiculous.
Maybe this movie was better than Superman 3.
Maybe we need to compare them. Maybe this was iconic.
Clearly, this is a conversation for another time. I
Yes.
think we understand what Tim didn't think worked about Supergirl.
Most of this didn't work. I didn't like any character in the film except Jimmy Olsen, and I only like him by proxy from like other films he's been in. And it's way too long.
I could literally talk
Very
the entire
much so.
movie's
Yes.
worth
Yes.
how bad that movie was.
I think we did talk over a lot of that movie.
Okay,
Or went to the bathroom.
So this overly long Supergirl movie. Mel, what did you think? What didn't work with this one?
Okay, so I think pacing was like a massive issue. I think this story could have been told in 90 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Should have been.
Absolutely. Like, chop out half of the college scene or high school scene. I'm not sure what age
that
they
was.
were or what they were supposed to be.
Well, she seemed 12 at the beginning, to be fair.
To be fair, she was acting like
Yeah.
a child,
Yes.
and 12 is probably being nice.
Like not too bright.
Yeah, I feel like you could have chopped out the whole man fighting part and just had it about power.
Just power in
Just
the
power.
abstract, yeah. Like
yeah.
he could have been like the man could have been like eaten by the tractor and turned into that Ares monster.
Absolutely.
Destroy the guy, and like he's just the sacrifice that she's chosen to grow,
Yeah.
like the trees he was cutting down, grow him into the monster Ares, the goat man.
And the main thing to take away from that is keep the tractor.
Yes, the
Keep
tractor.
the
Keep
tractor.
the
Well,
tractor.
they spent 22 days shooting it.
You would not want to scrap those scenes.
No.
Do you think that like tractor driver went on to great success in the industry?
Probably, yeah, I would say so.
The tractor driver was Lois Lane's sister.
In real life?
Yeah.
Right?
She
Yeah.
was ace. Ace at driving the tractor.
Awesome.
The truck driver in Back to the Future is Steven Spielberg. When he goes around the corner out of the parking lot of the fast food restaurant.
nice.
I don't think it's a Burger King though. Too bad. It would have
Could
just
have
really
been an
buttoned
A&W.
my
You never
point.
know.
It might
Yeah.
have been.
Amount
Maybe
of,
just
like,
the
product
kind of
placement
orange
we had.
shade
Popeyes,
as a
yeah.
past.
Cool. So,
Where's the hat?
Yeah,
But not sideways.
not sideways.
so anything else, Mel?
Yeah, I did draw an interesting conclusion. I'm not sure if many people will follow me on this, but I feel like this was just confused. The whole way that they tackled the character of Supergirl, I feel like they treated her like a Disney princess.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
really disappointed me because I think there is a place for Disney princesses, and don't get me wrong, I'm solid with the Disney princess, but
Yeah.
in a Supergirl movie, no, she does not need to like make friends with a bunny. No, she does like.
But in a way, like Princess Leia is now a Disney princess, right? Like they've done that, and it still can work. Like if they approach it properly, like this
Okay.
idea of like
Yeah, but
there's an
I
icon
hold on.
would
status.
disagree because
No.
when Princess Leia first came out, Disney was not involved, so Princess Leia is a
They
princess.
appropriated
And-
her.
But that doesn't make her a Disney princess.
I
I'm
need to
sorry.
specify also, I'm talking about 1980s, 1990s Disney princesses. I'm not talking about like the tangled print, like, you know.
Right.
I'm not
and
talking about the
like,
new
Brave
age,
and,
like,
for sure.
Old school Cinderella,
yeah.
like Snow White, the whole like,
Mary Sue
my,
type,
like,
kind of just
I
vessels.
kissed the prince, my lips.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
actually kind of happened in this movie.
It totally
too.
happened in
They
this
kissed
movie.
once, and
And he got
she
beaten
was
away.
down. No, like
She
she
was
was
down.
up for it after that point. So I totally agree. It's like it's a Disney movie.
Yeah, the music in the background, whenever it was her in her alter ego, what was her name?
Linda Lee.
Linda Lee.
Linda Lee.
Whenever she was that character, it was like this really light, fluffy music. That having the two identities is such a Disney princess Cinderella kind of thing. Right? You've got the weakling. What was she? No, the wimp. The wimp.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
you've
yeah.
got the he's
Yeah,
the
a
strong
Disney
one.
dynamic. That's
Yeah.
like the handmaiden.
Whoa.
sort
Yeah,
of.
totally.
Right, so Supergirl, 1984. What didn't work for me? That's a tough question because there was a lot that didn't really work for me. I have to admit. I think they could have embraced the lore and the kind of structure of Superman a little bit better in this. We kind of got thrown into a world where we were meant to assume a lot. Now, in watching a lot of these older movies, I'm seeing a lot of like we're meant to take more away from the shots and everything that we're seeing. So I'm kind of okay with that, but at the same time, this was a big leap. I think Superman was mentioned when we were on, I'm sorry, what was it?
On Argo City.
Argo
yeah, they were
City.
talking about him like they knew what was going on on Earth. Like they studied Earth. Like their world is destroyed. They live on a floating space island.
Yeah, it would have been nice to like...
But they study Earth.
Yeah.
And Superman
It
specifically.
would have been nice if maybe we could have seen Kandor City
And they have posters.
Yeah.
exploding, and then
Of humans.
Kara was getting sent through a pod to Earth in like a more of like a cataclysmic style of things. I don't know.
Why didn't the planet
I'm
explode,
confused.
right?
I'm confused why
Yeah.
that happened because Peter O'Toole being in the Phantom Zone at the end was never really explained, and so for me that's kind of like why would Kara go back if Peter O'Toole is in
the
Phantom Zone? Because the
do
only
we
reason he
assume
would be in the
Krypton
Phantom
exploded
Zone
and
is
it
if
destroyed
the
everything,
thing
like he
exploded.
escaped?
Yeah,
But they didn't make any of that clear. Like there was no shot of that. Even the same shot, steal from the early movie, and just like, and then just insert the little island and like poof.
Maybe
like,
they were hoping for a sequel. Or maybe they had a 4-hour cut of the movie and they had to chop all that out.
yeah.
I would have actually been.
We need more of the party.
Yeah,
Party guests.
I
Could
feel
you-
like there wasn't.
Yeah.
I think my main problem with this is the concept that they had was it's the same thing as what worked. The concept was brilliant. I really liked superpower versus magic, but I feel like the execution was really poorly done because of like what has been mentioned earlier, which is the focus on the women getting like swooning over the man. It's like Supergirl coming to take back the power source that a witch has suddenly realized can make her powers, you know, a hell of a lot more effective. That's a better story. We don't need the man in there. So like that whole thing just kind of ruined the plot for me, and I was like,
there was no like bringing you into the world of magic either.
There was
like,
no world-
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like
There was no
it's
world
just-
building at
Yeah,
all.
at all,
They
right?
They
Like-
threw out
We're just supposed to accept that like magic's a thing people can do.
they threw out
And they
lines
didn't
of
build that.
dialogue being like, "Oh, this is this, or this is that," and it's like, yeah, right.
Hmm.
You know, it was just like people saying things.
yeah.
You might as well be like, this is the key you put in the lock that turns the thing that like Mousetrap. Like he's
Yeah,
and it's just like we're sending the thing along, right? Right?
okay.
A Rube
So,
Goldberg.
ratings time, guys. What do we? Oh yeah.
It's
now's the
definitely
time.
a party. flick.
What's our?
You could throw it on at a house party and
For sure.
and grab
So
people's
much so.
interest for like 9 minutes at a time.
But Tim, I think the important question is like, what's our rating scale? Like, what of Supergirl are we going to take away as the way that we rate this
Coconuts
movie?
to the head. It's coconuts to the head.
Coconuts to the head?
It was just so
Look,
ridiculous.
I'm torn between Coconuts to the Head and Runaway Tractor.
I like
do
Runaway
enjoy-
Tractor.
You know, if I haven't
Isaiah?
said it before, I
I
love the
mean-
tractor scene.
Yeah.
I might just have to go with the tractor just because.
Tractor?
Again, took them 22 days to film that.
The budget. We're going
We need to
budget
honor
over
their
artistic
dedication.
That's
artistic
like-
integrity
Like
versus
literally
budget.
over a
It
month
always
of
wins.
filming.
Yeah.
Over
It's
a month
like-
of
So
filming.
sad.
I unfortunately have to go with Runaway Tractor.
There it
I
is.
think
We're
they
all
might
siding with the
tractor.
corporate
It's
giant of the
Suicide
movie.
Squad all over again.
No, but the reason is because it's ridiculous that you would take 22 days to film a scene like this
I
and not
respect
make
it.
it good.
But not
you
make it good.
Like that they could have the tractor being possessed
Possessed
would
would have been awesome.
You could
Become a
have
transformer
like,
that you
done
could
the
see
Muppets
moving, like a
thing kind
Muppet
of thing
thing.
with that, and
Even a
it would have worked
miniature.
great in
You
this,
could have had
you
a
know?
doll hanging out, like a miniature doll with a floppy arm. Would have sold that enough on this level.
even-
If the guy was like, "What do you want, Supergirl?" Floppy arm. And you're like, "Come to my castle on the top of the mountain." And
What
they
a-
like drive around.
What a lost opportunity just for Selena to drive the tractor herself.
Herself.
What
Yeah.
an awesome imagery to like have her and
Yeah.
her wild hair like laughing maniacally down the
That's
road.
true.
Yeah.
Trying to skill tester him into the
Like
bucket.
a Helena Bonham Carter kind of, right? Bellatrix Lestrange kind of archetype. Just like the mad, like, that'd have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On her broom and like,
Yeah.
yeah, why? And they had Tim Burton.
Okay,
come in
okay.
shortly
I think
after.
we're getting a little bit off course. Maybe into our pitch session.
Bring it
It's
in.
coming up later. Don't
Bring it
worry.
in.
So, who wants to go first in the rating system of this? We're going with Runaway Tractors.
Runaway Tractor.
And this is normal rating scale. 1 is like the least, and 5 is the best.
5 is the best.
So that's
So
that's
4
what
is
we're
not
going with.
like 4 is good.
I
3.
mean, I'll go
Yeah.
first.
Okay, you go.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna blurt it out. So I would give this movie 2 Runaway Tractors, just because it's the kind of movie, like you said, you can throw it on at a party and you can laugh at it, and it's terrible. Like it's almost 2 hours and 5 minutes of terrible.
Of your life,
It is-
you won't get
it is
back. But if you're
bad.
eating good food and
But
beers
like if you're laughing
yeah.
and you're drinking beers, yeah, put it on. Like it's a fun to watch movie and make fun of.
yeah, and talk about stuff. and
I may
that's
watch
fun.
it again. I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, that's a pretty
not bad.
glowing
That's not bad.
recommendation.
It's
It's
too.
terrible.
It's a
Maybe
lot
in
better than what I
22
thought was going to
years,
come out
we'll-
of Isaiah.
I mean,
Arquette, man.
just based. My rating though is based on fun that I had watching it,
Right.
rather than is it a good movie? No, obviously it is terrible. But
Yeah.
Do you feel you might have been tractored, drugged, and then eaten up by a giant tractor? 'Cause
I might
this
have had a
seems little
love
bit
spell.
high.
I might have had a love spell put on me for this movie.
Love spell, drugged, and tractored. Sorry. Go on.
That's mine.
That's yours. It's a 2
Okay,
for
so we
mine.
got 2 from Isaiah.
That's good for
That's pretty good.
Isaiah.
That's
That
pretty
is.
good.
That makes
I
me.
enjoyed it.
So, Tim, Mel, who's next?
I'll wait.
No, let me go first.
go.
Okay, all right. Tim and Mel have a ridiculous habit of voting exactly the same. It has
do.
happened for every single
film.
other episode that we have done so far. So Tim normally goes first. So seeing Mel come first is quite a nice surprise.
want-
I'm
I-
interested.
Nice surprise.
Do we want
for
to
sure.
bet on what they're going to give it?
Do we want to bet?
Yeah.
We're gonna go there first. All right.
Ooh.
I don't know. We've
I don't
just
know.
changed the dynamic. It's like
You know what? You gave it 2, so I'm
They're gonna
this
go
is
lower.
sloppy science.
They're gonna go
Because
lower.
now
They're
that
gonna
we
go
You reckon they're going to go
contributing
lower?
factor.
I was
They're
going to
gonna
say, I don't know. I was inspired. Maybe they go with 2.5, but you're right.
I think they're gonna go
I think
one.
they're going to go lower.
Okay.
Not
to influence what you're going to say.
Oh
what
no,
I'm
I'm
saying.
sticking with it.
I think
Sticking
okay.
with
So
it.
This guy's-
let's not put a number on it. We think they're going to go on the lower scale. So
Okay,
Mel,
so
have we twisted
No,
things? I don't
not
know.
at all.
We'll see.
this is I think this is one of those movies you have to take with a like a very broad stroke. If you break it down, it's crap.
Yeah.
Every little element that you take apart, you know, apart from the couple of wins that they had, is not good. But you put it all together and you have some good company around you, it's a really good movie, and I really enjoyed the experience of watching it. And I really enjoyed talking about it. So I feel like considering the pleasure that it has brought to my life
Oh.
and the tractor scene, I'm giving it a 3!
Well
Nice.
done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well
We're gonna
done.
be different. We're gonna
Wow.
Kept the suspense.
Wow.
Going. I enjoyed that.
Wow.
All right, let's see if Tim feels the same way. Tim. Oh yeah, pressure's on now, buddy. What's the thoughts?
Joker's
Jeez.
grabbing at you.
He's always. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. We talked about it being like Suicide Squad, but with the team instead of her. And they were interesting. And as bad as Suicide Squad was, it like for messy editing, messy storytelling, it had the characters. This was the opposite. It had the plot and everything, but it had no characters. The one character it gave us was the one character that Zack Snyder felt you could just kill at the beginning of the movie and it wouldn't matter. Jimmy Olsen. So, like, for me, I don't know. And I would compare it to, like, is it the same DP or whatever, or the same writer?
It's the same writer
that
as
did Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
And to
that's,
me, as
David-
cheeseball as
David
Masters,
Odell.
David Odell, right? Masters of the Universe to me is just it gets worse at times. Like there's a fight scene in a gymnasium with like gladiators wearing monster costumes. It's not as bad as Swamp Thing in the final battle, but no, it just I don't know. Other than the costumes, this was like the equivalent of watching like a cinematic puppet show. But they didn't use their puppets properly. You know what? Like, I really want to watch it. I get the era it came out. It's 1984. A good year. And anyway...
Wait, you were born in...
I was
Circa
born in...
Tim.
I finally put those two
Here
together.
it goes.
It was. But, yeah, and a strong female character.
Everyone's figuring out how old you are now.
I know they are going to.
Wait.
Yeah, so count it out. I got time.
We're gonna try and make this podcast have 2 hours.
2 hours and
2
5 minutes.
We'll see how we go.
And then we've got credits glued to my staircase. Yeah, you know what? I think this movie's brutal, and it's not as bad as the others, but having seen it 3 times, I want to give it a higher grade for a lot of reasons. I want to give it a guilty pleasure, but I'm not going to.
Oh.
What's
Hello?
happening right now,
Hello?
Tim? What are you
First time in
doing?
6
Hello,
episodes.
can
What
go.
are you doing?
Yeah.
Hello,
can
you
you
go?
I don't think it's a
go.
1,
Oh.
but you
It's
never
still a
saw
1.5.
any boobs, so I can't give it a 2.
The statues.
So I'll give it
Just had
a,
a lot of tits.
but always one or the other. So I give it a 1.5.
Oh!
But
Lord.
with a shout out to Supergirl, the TV show.
Tim, I thought we were closer than this.
I thought so. I hate to break it on this one too. We'll watch some better, stronger female characters that are just like there was no.
That'd be nice.
This is not Ripley. This is not Sarah Connor, and those movies were about coming out the same time. You know what? Like
Okay.
that's my point.
Yeah. So from the end, we've got Isaiah with 2-star rating. We've got Tim with
1.5.
1.5, and we've got Mel with
3.
3.
I
Runaway
like that you
tractors.
gave it a 3.
Okay.
I almost gave it a 3, but it was either one or the
Did
other.
not.
This is you know what? For a $35 million budget,
Which is not low.
In
no,
1984.
it's not low. As
When
we were
Tim was
saying,
born.
It
yeah.
cost too much money otherwise too,
Yeah.
so I can't justify it with the expenditure. Now, if I was on that vacation they took with them,
Now,
you would have bumped my rating.
As I was
way up.
saying, I'm just gonna take the microphone away from Tim again. As I was saying, that's around about 85 or something like that in this day and age, which is more than what Deadpool cost. I really like the concept. I think that was fantastic. I think the execution could have been a little bit sharper in certain ways, maybe stuck a little bit more to the source material. we still haven't really talked about product placement in regards to A&W, and also the very early on rape scene that almost happened between
With
two
Matt
truckers
Brewer.
and Supergirl when she first landed on the Earth after bursting out of the water, which for some reason she burst out of the water as opposed to from space, even though she went through a wormhole. There was a lot of really good concepts, I gotta admit, but...
It was like Pacific Rim.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit that was not really adding up, you know? Something else that we haven't actually touched on, which I'm surprised anyway, is the fact that the witch's secret lair was an amusement park.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in theory, this is fantastic, and I got to admit, I loved it. I think it was awesome. The one thing that didn't really make sense was that the first introduction to our villain is that she needs to pay the bills. So I don't know if necessarily that's the best way to introduce this suddenly all-powerful witch that's going to come in and frighten Supergirl and threaten her with a lava floor that is basically like a really bad game of Mario where you're versing Bowser and you've got to jump from the right tile to the next tile.
Yeah.
But,
I think it's trying to highlight her independence as a woman paying the bills in
Paying the bills,
1984.
right.
Some people
Right.
read
So,
far
but
too
for
much.
some reason, Supergirl wasn't able to fly at this point in time as well. She just kind of crawled along like a real super soldier that she was.
She was
Whilst
pounding
everyone
the
looked
pavement.
on.
Yeah, well, everyone
Right.
looked on. So in this regard, this is a movie that I would totally put on if I was playing poker or board games or like just having a general party night and I was like, hey guys, let's just have some like corny movies on the background. If you want to like just zone out and watch something without too much sound, go for it. This is going to entertain you at certain points in time, and other times you'll be like, hey, you know what? I think I need some conversation with some other human beings because this is ridiculous right now. So I'm actually going to score this on par with Swamp Thing and say it's a 2.5 on my star ratio.
Okay.
It's not too bad. I think the concept in the end really won me over. Like thinking of magic and a super is really awesome because that's one of the instant kind of fragile natures of Superman. So I thought that was really good, and that sort of won me over despite everything else within the film. I think there was more like input on the audience to kind of figure out what was going on as well, which was really good, which I don't think...
Took a lot of figuring for like a simple...
I don't think we do enough of in this day and age.
Well,
I think it's very much spoon-fed and too big and too crazy.
I think
and
this
too
movie
over the
was
top.
aggressively like hands off.
Aggressively, yeah.
It was like,
I'm not sure if it was their
Screw it.
intention to be hands
No,
off. I
of
think
course
there's
not.
just a lot of holes. Like when it
But at
went,
the end, the
when-
amusement park becomes a castle on a mountaintop. Like, so it's like, was the set the same, but now it's on top of a mountain?
I'm not sure
Like,
what happened there.
So much of that-
So this is a good point. So like, what do we think could be done to make this movie better? What is our pitch for this movie? What would
Here
we
comes
do
the pitch.
when it comes to Supergirl to make this movie like relatable, good, and worthwhile? In our opinion,
First
anyway.
thing, you made a movie about Supergirl. It should break the back. It should, or break it. No, it should. What's the word I'm looking for? Pass the Bechdel test.
Oh, yeah.
Two characters that are female should be able to have a conversation that is not about a man in a movie called Supergirl.
Yes,
I don't think that
very
ever
much
happened
so.
in this movie.
Yep.
No, it never
They weren't
did.
really worried about that in like screenwriting at the time. Again, 1984.
But it should have been the goal of the film. Like, why else make it? Right? It's like derivative, sell some onion rings. Like, I 100% agree. And that's just why I feel it was just such like a missed opportunity. I hope Wonder Woman really does a better job of not falling into these traps.
Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot,
Coming out.
and
Gal Gadot.
Chris
Chris Pine.
And Chris Pine is going to be in it as well, so it's going to be interesting. It's in World War One.
She looks like Jason Momoa.
She looks
Tim
like
only
Jason.
has the older figurine of Supergirl.
The only one they have
so,
that really, or they have the Crisis one with the headband, which doesn't really work.
Yeah. So,
So-
How would we make
Mel,
this
is
coming out?
is there anything in this movie that you think you would improve upon if you were
Yeah,
going to like pitch for a different kind of Supergirl?
I feel like they made this movie. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I get the sense, whether it was or wasn't, it was made by men for women.
Yes.
Mm.
And I think they just totally hit the mark. They could have made this movie for men and women
Yeah.
by like either either going for the younger audience, great, let's make her
That's fine,
younger,
too.
let's bring
Pixar,
everyone down, let's
right?
keep
The
it
Incredibles,
PG,
all this works.
or take it up.
Take it
up
up
a level, like make it a little more sexy.
Make it Deadpool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a little bit.
more risky.
I don't think they made a slasher horror boobs kind of like a sexploitation superhero film. I don't think they have.
No.
That's weird. Like maybe Barbarella, maybe like Barbed Wire. How about too?
Yeah,
kind of.
Barbed Wire was
maybe
a comic,
that.
right?
Like, but it's like it was a weird untapped area, and the way they wrote this, that's more like what they gave us, but like toned down and cut, like censored over, and it was like that's why it just didn't work for me. So it was like I just feel the narrative intention was too muddied.
So what would you do, Tim?
Either one. I'd make it for kids, and I'd
pick-
put her in high school, and I would
one.
have you pick one, or you go really dark and you have her be super murderous and bloody, and like maybe the final confrontation is with Clark himself in a cafe, and they sit down, and she's like, "I'm gonna fucking get up right now and tear this shit open," and he's like, "No, you're not, because I'm gonna stop you." And maybe it never gets beyond more than a few cups of coffee, and eventually she breaks the table and walks out. Wouldn't that be a neat end for like a superhero movie? Like, and like neither one wants to give up.
Tim's talking like an unbreakable ending
Yeah.
to a superhero movie, which I don't know if I'm comfortable with. But,
Maybe okay, because you don't like
like,
Unbreakable. We'll get to this, but
yeah, so but it's a nice thought.
But
Isaiah,
I do agree with
what's
like
your,
the sentiment. It's like this is a movie that has like some funny, like lighthearted moments, but also has that like attempted rape scene. Like there's a
it was
two
dark
dudes, two truckers try to rape Supergirl in this movie.
in this movie,
It's like
which
just
is
pick one,
PG,
like
kind of.
Mel was saying, it's like just go one way or the other. Like just
That crawling through the mud thing was totally
Yeah, like
sexualized.
The
There was a
Phantom
lot
Zone
of weird stuff.
Was like kind of dark, but it was like it was all over the place. It really was.
And there was like the rape analogy between the two men and Supergirl, but there was also between Selena and the guy.
And the
as
guy,
well. But
she ate him in the tractor, and like,
and then at the
Yeah.
end she was like
The vagina
controlling
dentata,
him,
like-
controlling him to make out with her, and like
the love potion, all this other weird rapey overtones.
the
It
inference
was
that
like
she could make him do whatever she wants.
it was just like very like holdover 70s sexual empowerment, right?
Yeah.
Like the misinterpretation of the 60s, and like the drug haze is worn off, and like this is where we're at, and then you get the European ones doing it too, and like I don't know, like there was no direct intention, and you can tell they were very hands off. This was more just like, this is just gonna print money. And then
I think with this one, it really needed some more connection and grounding within the DC universe. They were really expecting a lot of the audience to kind of pick up on previous films that had come out at the time. We're talking it's the same producers who have done all the Superman.
Superman 1 and 2.
One,
Didn't they
Superman
not
2
do
and
any-
2.
3.
Did they
did
do
all
3 as
four.
well?
They did all 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they released some of the rights for 3 and 4 or something. I think it became like a co-production.
Okay,
and I
but
think Christopher Reeves had a lot of
They definitely it was like
control
it was
over
like
the 4th one.
the
He wrote the
first
script.
spin-off
or
movie
part of it.
for a comic book movie, really.
This
Because this
was,
was
yeah.
set in the same universe as Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, and they'd never done that at that point.
No, never.
So I think in that regard, they've set it in the same universe. They could have done a little bit more crossover, a little bit more kind of joining it in
more
instead
than a
of.
poster.
Yeah, I know. Like, Supergirl was really isolated at the start, but
Yeah.
it wasn't an origin story. It was like, that's her home, and then she went back there. So it kind of, other than the fact that and I feel terrible for saying this, but the society on Argo would have died without the power source. We never really got much of a connection as to why that was important. Like, what?
Like,
does
she never
Argo
wanted to go
do,
back
or-
there and
yeah,
save her
she
dad.
was so
or
enamored
whatever,
with
right? Like,
what was going on in Earth that it seems strange that she would so willingly go back. There was a lot of lack of conflict in this film. So I think if they really grounded this and made it more about Kara's conflict, maybe she's left and she has no idea how to get back home, and so that's why she's trying to get the power sphere so that then it might power her ship that got there.
Maybe
so
Celine stole the power sphere, and that's how she's got the info on the Phantom Zone. How she can even open it up. Like, how does she learn about Krypton?
The power sphere is
Krypton.
lost because Peter O'Toole drops it and then kicks it back to Kara and then Kara fumbles with it, and it goes out into outer space. Like, I mean, it's a comedy of errors.
Well,
really,
she creates a butterfly, which pokes a hole in the saran wrap, and then it sucks it out of her hand.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that I was very confused by in this. So, like, for me, I feel like you treat it as more of an origin story for Supergirl as opposed to it's just, like, some issue where she's traveling across space and time to retrieve something and then come back.
The space and
I
time
feel
thing
like-
is
I
unclear.
feel like it was missing a lot, but it was missing the scenes where she learned that she had powers. It's like,
So, how about if the movie's not so good, but the show is good? How about the comics recently? Supergirl's appearance in the Justice League animated universe. Don't forget, she and the Green Arrow were the very first heroes recruited in the Justice League by Batman and the other main pantheon.
Yeah.
So, what is it about those characters? Supergirl is a character specifically. She's not going away. They killed her off in the Crisis, and they had to bring her back a few years later.
Well,
Granted, it was as an ectoplasmic blob that mated with an angel or something. The details are nebulous.
she's like,
Isaiah?
she's in like, you know, the nicest way possible to meme this. She is like a gender swap of Superman,
Yeah.
which I like.
I like to.
Because like
It
Batgirl
works.
works really well.
Totally.
Right? Like,
She's a very different character, though,
very
than
different
Batman.
character. Like, and like Supergirl's a little more complicated as a character in that she's like from Krypton, but she came after. It's like it's a lot more.
Whereas Superman misses the backstory, right? Clark was a baby. He's Moses sent out in the
Yeah.
river. Supergirl grew up. She was a teenager. She had a Tamagotchi and she played Yu-Gi-Oh cards and grew up
And-
like in Kryptonian lore. She was like she went to the Kryptonian mall and like that's an interesting kind of backstory to have for a character.
And like, in a way, she's kind of like a relic of that time, and they're like, oh, we need a female character. Let's just make a Superman that's female.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't make her any less important now. Like, women need strong female characters, and like,
Isn't it the same as saying like it's like an army ranger that just is a female as well? It's
Yeah,
like
it's like-
a non-gendered even term.
And
like
again, it's
a
kinda
super
like-
person.
it's kinda like
but it doesn't like
complex in that comic booky sort of way. But I think it works. I like her character. I've always liked Supergirl. She's better than Krypto.
And the fact that she's not Superwoman, which is a great way that they addressed right away with Cat Grant on the show. It's like, how are you going to address this issue? They just did it right away, and they were like, that's the point. And it's like, it's all about branding and bankability and marketability and Cat Grant, Callista Flockhart. Just, I mean, she is the one thing that's really missing from this season of Supergirl. It's really too bad. No?
Yeah, I think Supergirl in general is such a great character and has so much potential and so much to offer and can kind of teach a lot for like younger generations and things like that. I don't feel like much of that was achieved in the movie.
No.
I feel like the only thing I took away from the movie was to not create a space station with saran wrap.
That's good advice, though, really, in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, as a cautionary tale, really.
Can poke a hole with a butterfly wing.
That's why
Yeah,
even
so
Star Trek is transparent aluminum. They go for the metal alloy. It's
Yeah.
like better than the plastic wrap when it comes to keeping your food, fresh in the fridge.
Yeah.
I feel like Supergirl had a lot to offer, but they just didn't take the offers and use them.
Yeah.
Not like they do these days, which
They do
which
for the most part.
I feel like in general Supergirl is being utilized in a really cool way recently.
Like she's basically Clark Kent in every way, but like a more interesting Clark Kent. They brought like this the thing that maybe the one complaint lodged against Supergirl the show was where's Superman the whole first season, and he was like on instant messenger with her and other stuff, and it was like okay whatever, but it was like I think that was less of a reluctance to do it or branding or whatever. Time Warner makes films and then they make superhero cartoons with big budgets, whatever. They need to figure that out. Regardless.
I was more excited with the other crossovers.
With the other
they did,
crossovers.
though. Like I'm like, why
The
does it
music
have to be
crossover.
Superman?
Yeah. Well, they didn't need
Could
him,
be anyone.
right? There's no Batman in the Arrowverse. There's Green Arrow.
Yeah, sorry to draw this away from Tim. Once again, I'm just kind of taking the microphone and pulling it over.
Should.
Uh,
We have a hook they're not allowed to use. No, we don't.
Yeah, so with
They might get one.
with Supergirl, I think in the current iteration that we've got on the CW show, I think we're seeing a lot more form than what we were seeing when it was on, I want to say, NBC beforehand. I think the CW format works a lot better. I wish they would just incorporate her in the overall universe, because I feel like that's an important factor to really bring all of these CW shows together. I'm kind of confused why they haven't done that already. But in this movie, I think that's the other thing that I feel it really suffers from, is they don't bring Supergirl into the continuum with everybody else. I mean, it would have been really nice to just see a little bit more than a couple of sentences of dialogue saying that she was related to Superman and whatnot, you know? It would have been really nice to see some kind of connection, anything at all, even if it was a Fitbit transmission, you
like
know?
just a hologram head, or
yeah,
just the voice. Just
you know,
a voice to connect them. And that's it.
That would have been great.
And that's where the CW spends their money better than NBC did with Supergirl. Like, Supergirl had this giant Batcave type set that felt like a set. Now we've got like a bustling government building with extras walking by, and they're just wearing spandex black outfits, but like it works. Your eye glances,
it
but
feels like it's a
lived-in universe,
yeah,
and not a show they brought into Hollywood.
That's
for.
what CW's always been good for, and you know they have a really good like target for their audience and everything, and so I think that's why Supergirl's really good, because I think she targets a good audience, and they've really capitalized on that. So I'm a big fan of it. But yeah.
Now that after our discussion, I'd really like to see what they did with like a Robin show, or like if they really wanted to go with like a younger character. I think there's a lot of potential there for stuff we haven't seen. And even Smallville, it starts relatively late. He's like a high school, not a senior or whatever, but is he a senior even? I don't even know. Like, I forget. But he's old enough. And it's like it would be interesting to get that kind of, and if that's what this new X-Men show that they're talking about is really going to go into and explore that angle, like a Saved by the Bell, a Riverdale, this kind of Veronica Mars style with a superhero character. That was one of the strongest threads through Heroes, right? Save the cheerleaders, save the world.
Save the world.
And that was like, it really, I think, pulled that along, and the relationship with her dad and everything. Heroes, the first season, anyways, is one of the best shows on television. It has such a strong drive. It's basically Watchmen, though. Like, and then let's not.
Unfortunately, there was the writers' strike and everything that happened around the time of season 2 and whatnot. So there was a lot of interrupted stuff. Lost had a similar thing.
Lost had a thing
they
too.
Kind of was suffering. It's unfortunate.
Next Gen season 2 was the same thing, but the first writer's strike.
20 years earlier.
20 years earlier, yeah.
I really liked Heroes season 1. I think they could have gone somewhere really different and unique, and I think they would have gone there as well.
I believe it too. I think that's why Watchmen is what it is, because it is the most iconic. It's like you take one of the best writers who's ever written for the medium, and you have him distill everything down. You come up with these characters. Like, Watchmen could have just as well worked with Batman and Superman, and like it could have been written that way with some, like you take Aquaman, like if that's what they do with Justice League. Now I don't think that's what they should do with Justice League. I sure hope it's not what they do, but it would still work. And like I want to see something different, a new film. But
what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, that would be another back issue for another day.
It would be. We'll tackle Watchmen.
Yeah.
Very much so. We haven't tackled Watchmen yet. I look forward to the day that we do.
It's a big one.
But that was Supergirl 1984. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Back Issues. My name is Bray.
My name's Mel.
My name is Tim.
My name is Isaiah. Ooh, that felt weird.
It felt weird. We're all kind of weird.
Did. We could have.
I really wanted to say my name is not Bray.
I was hoping to just establish what my name is, and then everybody would just say names.
I thought you were gonna say my name, so it got awkward. Should we
do a thing?
Should we
Should we do a take two?
Take it.
Yeah, I'll just say so that's another back issue for another.
Okay, yeah, let's do it all.
No, it's
Take two.
supposed to be my name is Bray, and then you say Mel.
I get that now, but
Yeah.
at the time,
I see where the confusion
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But thanks for
He's trying
not
to
leaving
be.
me hanging with the continuing the awkwardness.
He's trying to button it. Yeah.
Okay.
My name is not Bray.
Whatever. Fuck you guys.
I am
I see
Spartacus.
how it is. It's fine. It's fine. Trying to like sort shit
No,
out.
I am Spartacus.
Yeah.
We're all Spartacus.
Okay, we are the misfits, and thank you.
All right. One more time.